Right now at 4:30, we are talking about the race for governor. Dozens of names on the ballot. Only the top two will advance to the November runoff.
And we have reporters tracking the top candidates as they wait for the polls to close tonight. NBC4's Camilla Rambaldi live in San Francisco for us with the Tom Steyer campaign. Camilla.
Colleen and Carolyn, we're here in downtown San Francisco, and this is where Tom Steyer is expected to be tonight for his watch party. The setup is now underway. Doors haven't opened just yet. They're not expected to open until a little later this evening. As you mentioned, he is one of the contenders vying for that second spot in the general election. Over the last few days, he has been campaigning in Los Angeles, making his final pitch to voters. We want to get you to some video from earlier today. This is video of Steyer this morning riding the Metro D line in LA. Last night, he was also in West Hollywood speaking with voters there. He emphasized his support for the LGBTQ+ community and talked about his priorities for California. The billionaire candidate was also in downtown LA on Sunday, where he rallied with his supporters at the Los Angeles Trade Technical College. The latest Emerson College poll shows Steyer in second place, trailing fellow Democrat Javier Becerra and Steve Hilton in third place. Here is more from Steyer in Los Angeles this morning.
This state is unaffordable, and there's a reason for it. And that is that corporate special interests are driving up costs. And I would say, look, we can't change that unless we're willing to take on the corporate special interests.
Yes, Steyer has spent more than $200 million to fund his campaign, breaking records, surpassing other candidates. And back out here live again, doors here won't be opening until a little later this evening. And of course, we will bring you all the updates from the Tom Steyer watch party right here in downtown San Francisco. For now, I'll send it back to you, Carolyn and Colleen.
All right, we'll see you again soon, Camilla. Thank you. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco sat near the top of the polls earlier in the race. Those numbers, though, didn't hold up over time, but Bianco says he remains optimistic. NBC4's Christian Cáceres is in Eastvale now with the outlook for Bianco.
Carolyn, I can tell you that Sheriff Chad Bianco, he told us that this has been a long journey, but of course, tonight is the night. Tonight is election night. He tells us this has been a long journey for not only him, but for his family and his team. And now he's hoping that all of his supporters will come through and give him a big win here on election day. Now, this is where we're told Bianco will be on election night as all of those election results are starting to come in right here in Eastvale. But so far, his team has not really released any details about his day or also of how he voted. Now, we know the Republican candidate made an appearance last night at a church in Temecula. We caught up with the 59-year-old candidate 24 hours ago at the Sheriff's Department in downtown Riverside. We asked him about whether he'll accept the election results and if he had any plans to challenge them. He wouldn't give us a firm answer, but he argued voter fraud is real. We also asked him about recent comments from the other Republican in the race, Steve Hilton, calling Bianco to step down from the race to strengthen the Republican ticket. Bianco ignoring those calls and focusing on his campaign.
Yes, I want to win, and yes, I know I'm going to make California a much better place for everyone else. But at the same time, I absolutely love the job that I have. And I know that I would have to leave this. I love everything about my job. I love my employees. You know, the work that I do. I feel like I was born for this.
And Bianco telling us he is not done yet. He is staying strong on his campaign. And again, he's hoping that the voters will come out to support him. But Bianco's campaign has faced a few bumps along the way. You might recall earlier this year when President Trump did not endorse him as the candidate. Also, back in February, he faced strong criticism after he alleged voter fraud in last year's election. But again, guys, Bianco hoping that voters will come out and give him a big win on this election day. We're live in Eastvale. Christian Cáceres, NBC4 News.
All right, Christian, thank you for that. The Palisades and the Eaton fires forever changed Southern California. Many voters have very strong opinions about how the city of L.A. and the county responded to them.
NBC4's Macy Jenkins is live at a polling center in the Palisades tonight. Macy, how are the fires factoring in?
Well, Colin and Carolyn, it's one of the main factors. Several of the people I talked to in Palisades and Santa Monica say that's one of their main reasons why they decided to come out and vote. Many of them saying they're voting for Spencer Pratt for mayor, who also lost his home in the fire. Take a listen at what they had to say. What's the number one thing driving you to the polls today?
Getting Spencer Pratt as our mayor.
Why? Why Pratt?
Because everyone else is not very good.
I lost my condo, my parents' home. We lost, everything. But even worse than that is your entire way of life is gone. We do hold the city and the state responsible.
With my kids, we walk around. There's homeless people everywhere. I've been chased like 3 or 4 times in Santa Monica, saying they're going to kill me. So, yeah, I'm fed up.
Will you tell us who you voted for mayor?
Oh, of course. I voted for Pratt because it's the only sensible vote right now.
How old are you, if I can ask?
I'm 21.
What are the most important things to you that brought you out to vote today?
I think definitely more progressive taxation, improving transit. I voted for Raman. I'm not super thrilled with Bass.
Now, other top issues include crime, homelessness, and the cost of housing. Now, the Eaton fire destroyed more than 9,400 homes and businesses, and that's in Altadena, where people say that rebuilding is not happening fast enough.
Yeah, well, I live in Altadena, and yeah, I was affected by the fire, and we just do some changes around here that help get some of these permits done faster.
I was out of my house for 3 months, but thank God it survived. A lot of news is all about the Palisades, and I know that it's, very chic in Malibu, but this was such a historic community, always has been, and it's a shame that it's half decimated. Bit by bit, it's coming back, but some days I don't even drive to the west because it's too sad to see the vacant lots.
I would like to see things done for the people in our community without as much red tape and bureaucracy, access to all the help that Altadena and Pasadena citizens need.
The polls are open for about 3.5 more hours. Now, it got a little slow earlier today in the middle of the day, but we're expecting things to pick up as the workday comes to a close. That's the latest. Reporting live here in Palisades tonight, Macy Jenkins, NBC4 News.
All right, we'll check back with you later, Macy. And of course, tonight could be a real nail biter. And as the numbers come in, Steve Kornacki is the guy NBC News counts on. He is focusing his famous Kornacki cam on California's key races.
And Steve joins us live right now with a preview of what to expect. Steve, I'm guessing you really had to study up on this. We've got a couple of very interesting races going on.
You sure do. The eyes of the country are on California, and really they're on Los Angeles tonight in particular for all the reasons you guys have been talking about with those reports right there. Certainly what I'm going to be looking for tonight, probably sometime around 8:30 your time, give or take 11:30 East Coast time. We expect one big, giant batch of votes to be reported out in Los Angeles, in the county and in the city, and instantly we're probably going to see half the results in this mayor's race. Those are going to be crucially here to understand, of course, with vote by mail. Those are going to be ballots that were mailed in, processed ahead of time, in advance here of Election Day, and then we wait. The voters who are out at the polls today, those votes will be tabulated, reported out later tonight, some more overnight. And if this thing is really close, very possible here, just given the flux between these candidates, it could end up being days before we actually know which two candidates have advanced in this race and, for that matter, in the governor's race.
Yeah, and speaking of the governor's race, walk us through that one.
Yeah, so really interesting dynamics here. Of course, Steyer, Hilton, Becerra have kind of led in the polling, but there's a lot of volatility behind them here. But I think one way of looking at this here is that if Hilton has succeeded in the final days of this campaign of sort of coalescing that Republican vote more around him, if Bianco is dropped off a little bit, and if Hilton's able to get one of those top two spots, then it would be which of these Democrats, likely Steyer or Becerra, gets the second spot. And geographically, what I'm interested in here, obviously, Becerra Becerra, his political base, Los Angeles County, more than a fifth of the vote in this primary is going to come out of Los Angeles County tonight. But you know what? The same amount of vote is going to come right out of the San Francisco Bay Area counties. That's where Steyer is. That's where we expect him to be much stronger. So is Becerra getting more out of L.A. County, or is Steyer getting more out of the Bay Area? I think that's a crucial thing I'm going to be looking for as these numbers come in.
And we hope to hear from you again. Steve, thank you.
You got it.